Hello and welcome to Math 65 Pre-Algebra. I'm the instructor, Dan Kleinfelter. The purpose of this video is to go over some of the features of Canvas that we'll need in order to complete our course. So let's go ahead and get started. If you've used Canvas before, a lot of the setup is going to be very familiar to the same as your previous experience. If you're new to Canvas, don't worry, it's pretty easy to at least get started with it. First, a quick tour of the layout. Down the left side on this red bar are some main kind of menus that you will need. Courses, probably you're only taking one course right now, but the different courses that you will need will be selectable through here where it says courses. Two spots below that where it says inbox. If you click on the inbox, that's where you can send me a message if you have a question. Down the next column in blue are some links for various features of the course that you will need. Likely you will need the modules primarily. And then other than that, you can take a look at most of the other features. They're going to be optional. You can take a look at those and see if that's useful to you. Near the bottom, the task, Tutoring and Academic Skills Center, local student tutors, that link will take you to some tutoring and you might find that useful. All right, the most useful part is going to be this middle column. Up at the top here, it says syllabus and getting started. On any of these menus in the middle, you'll see a little triangle to the left. If it's oriented so that its point is pointing towards the right as this one is, that means that it's a menu that will open in contrast to the one below where it says office hours, where the point is pointing towards the bottom. That one is already open. Let me go ahead and open the one that says syllabus and getting started. Okay, so that contains a lot of documents. We'll look at that here in a moment. In the meantime, let me close it again. Okay, below that, office hours. I have office hours every Tuesday from 12 to 1 on Zoom. Feel free to stop by if you have questions. Below that, there's a folder for helpful information. If I open that up, there are some handouts dealing with test anxiety, how to do chapter outlining, how to, again, deal with test anxiety and do positive self-talk and positive visualization. Take a look at those handouts. Let me know if you find any of them especially helpful or maybe not helpful. Okay, so that's there under helpful information. Below that, there's a folder containing review materials. These review materials are from a similar course to this one, which was Math 70, which is why they start off M70. There's one for whole numbers, positive and negative numbers, and then one for fractions. And then finally, the answers to the fraction part. Okay, these are not required materials for you to look at, but if you want some extra practice and review, there they are. Okay, more reviews. You could take a look at those. Same guidelines apply there. They're just extra practice for you if you want to look at them. Okay, below that, we'll start having notes for the course. Beginning course with chapter 1. Those you'll see appearing very soon. And once again, that is going to be a menu that opens and closes when you click that triangle link on the left side. Okay, so back to the top where it says syllabus and getting started. Let me reopen that. We'll spend a few minutes soon looking at the syllabus, but for now, let me pass over that. We also have a calendar. We'll look at that in a minute. Introduction, start here. That's this video that you're watching right now. There's another video called Introduction to My Open Math. My Open Math is the software that we'll be using to complete our work for this course. So you can watch that video to see the basics of how to set up a My Open Math account and get started. Okay, below that, a link actually that takes you to My Open Math. To create your My Open Math account, you're going to need a course ID that identifies this particular class in comparison to, say, calculus. It's somewhere in Kansas or something. Okay, for this course, it's 96474. Okay, all of that also is summarized in this next document, my openmathinfo.pdf. That's information on how to get the account set up. Our class is using a open, that is free textbook for this course called Pre-Algebra that comes to us from College of the Redwoods, and I've put links to that book here on Canvas as well. There's two separate links due to the sizes of the files. The first one is chapters 1 through 4. The second one is chapters 5 through 7. Okay, you can feel free to download those and store them locally on your computer if you like, if that works well for you, or just read them off of here if that's easier. All right, so then going back up to the top, my advice to you would be to look at all of these things sometime in the next couple of days. We're going to start with the syllabus. Up here, syllabus 65 for winter 2021. Okay, so I'm not going to read you the whole syllabus because that is really boring. We just want to kind of go over the highlights, but my advice to you would be to have the syllabus handy and refer back to it as needed. Okay, as mentioned before, I'm the instructor, Dan Kleinfelter. My email address is here as shown. In addition to sending me messages through Canvas, you can always email me. I check my email every day during the week, usually a couple of times a day during the week, and then once in a while on the weekends. Okay. Office hours, as I mentioned, they're Tuesdays from 12 to 1, and then the link, as you saw, is on Canvas. Okay, what the class is about, this is basically a first course in math at COD. It covers the basics from working with whole numbers, integers, fractions, decimals, and percentages, along with an introduction to algebra, where we will solve some simple equations and simplify expressions and so forth. Okay, if you have some experience with math already, we won't go as far as graphing things on like an XY plane. We will strictly be working with algebraic expressions and equations. Okay, also we'll look at some geometric concepts like perimeters of shapes and areas and volumes of shapes. Okay, there's no real prerequisite for the course. Anyone can enroll. It will be helpful for you though if you do know the multiplication tables by heart through 12. If you don't know those already, you want to get to work on those. You can use flashcards, or I will try to find some other resources I can tell you about that will help you get that done. It will make your life a lot easier and your work go by faster if you do know those multiplication tables. Okay. As I'd mentioned before, the textbook is pre-algebra. It's the second edition from College of the Redwoods. I did post it on Canvas, as you saw, and when we get around to looking at my open math, I'll show you where it is on there as well. Okay, I'd mentioned before that the course ID is 96474, and there's also an enrollment key that you're going to need. Winter 65 is our enrollment. All right, so the next thing we need to talk about is the time commitment for the course. The class that you're taking is normally during a semester length class. It would be 15 or 16 weeks. We're going to complete the whole thing in 15 weekdays. So that means basically we're doing about a week's worth of work every day, assuming you give yourself weekends off. So between January 5th and January 26th, you're going to do a bunch of assignments. You'll end up taking 7 tests and also take a final exam. So this is definitely not the kind of class where you can just do nothing with it until like Saturday and then do a whole bunch of work. It's also not a class where you can, ideally, it's not a class where you can just take the tests and do nothing else for it. So make sure to budget your time wisely. Make sure to spend time getting the assignments done and studying, and you'll be much more likely to be successful. A rough guideline would be you'll need about 5 hours a day reading the textbook, watching videos, and completing assignments. On test days, you're going to need more time. Okay, of course, the amount of time that you're going to need depends on a lot of factors. It depends on what your math experience is. Perhaps you just graduated high school a few months ago and your last math class was really recent, and so you feel pretty prepared. On the other hand, maybe your last math class was like 7 years ago, and you didn't maybe do so well in that class at that time, so you may need more time. It just depends on the individual. The point is, though, that if you're going to spend like 20 minutes a day on it, you probably won't have as good a progress as someone who spends more time. Okay, so make sure to take the time that you need. Okay, grading for the course, how's your grade based, what it's based on? Homework will make up 27% of the grade. That's assignments done on my open math. They're going to be due on exam days at midnight. We'll talk more about this when I show you the calendar. Make sure to budget your time so that you get it all done. If you can't do all of it, you're better off trying some of each section rather than completing one section and skipping the others. What I mean by that's this. Our first group of assignments will have sections 1.1 through 1.8 on it. The first chapter has 8 sections in it. If you find yourself short of time, you're better off doing some of each section. It's going to not work as well for you if you get all of 1.1 done, all of 1.2 done, and none of like 1.3 through 1.8. Make sure to do a little bit of each section, even if you don't get it all done. That's better than completing some sections and completely ignoring others. Okay, we're covering 7 chapters in this book. There will be 1 exam for every chapter. Each test is worth 8% of your grade, making a grand total of 56% of your grade. Okay. The exams will become available at 6 a.m. 2 days after we finish the assignments for a chapter. So for example, if we do chapter 1 on Tuesday and Wednesday, skip a day, and then have the test on Friday. This will be clearer when I show you the calendar. The exam will be open from 6 a.m. to midnight. So if you work or have other commitments, you should be able to find time in there to complete the test. If you're busy enough that you can't find test time within that 18-hour time frame, 1 day a week, or 1 or 2 days a week, then come and see me in office hours or send me an email and we'll talk about it. Okay, you can take the exam at any time during that interval, but you'll only have 90 minutes to complete it. So make sure to sit down to take the test when you know you're going to have time. I wouldn't start at 20 minutes before you have to leave for work, for example. Okay. At the end of the course, that is on our last day, the 26th, we'll have a comprehensive final that will be worth 17% of your grade. The final is comprehensive, that is, it covers everything that we will do over the next couple weeks. We'll give more information about the final when we get a little closer. The final is on the 26th. It'll be available again from 6 a.m., but this time it'll close at noon, okay? So it's closing at noon rather than midnight, so make sure to make note of that. For the final exam, you will have 2 hours to complete the test rather than 90 minutes, and that's because the test is a final and it will be a little longer. Okay. You can't take any exams, including the final, early or late. There are no makeups for the final. Don't miss deadlines. If I were you, I'd get a calendar of your own to cover the next couple of weeks to make sure that you don't miss anything. Okay, your grade is determined by your combined overall percentage, 90 for an A, 80 for a B, and so on. Okay, calculators. We don't use calculators in this class. Of course, due to the nature of the class, I can't really stop you from using a calculator very easily, but it's definitely not recommended. You're not getting out of this course what you've signed up for if you use the calculator for things. Okay, attendance. Attendance isn't used in computing your grade. However, students who attend class, being online, of course, that means reading the book, watching the videos, doing the assignments, tend to do better in class and get a higher grade. I may drop you from the class if you don't do work in my open math for 2 or more consecutive days, not counting Saturdays, Sundays, and we have 1 holiday in here. So make sure to log in and keep getting work done regularly. Okay. Classroom conduct. Aside from the student code of conduct in the college catalog, basically really only 1 rule. Be civil and courteous to one another and be honest. Okay, we will have discussion forums that you can post questions in. I'll point those out to you later. Make sure when you're posting or replying to a discussion forum that you're polite and use academic language. Okay, if several of you are attending my office hours, we're going to take turns answering questions. Okay, format for the course. The class is fully online. There are no live meetings where you have to be online at a certain time. Here's how you do this class. Each class day, Again, I'll show you the calendar soon. Each class day will cover 4 sections most often. For each section, you want to read the textbook. The link for that is on My Open Math. I'll show you that in the My Open Math video. Watch the videos associated with each section. These are also on My Open Math. I'm going to be producing more videos that will be on Canvas for each section. View those if you would like additional help, explanation, or examples. Okay, then finally work through the homework assignment for the section. On days where we have tests, you can choose what time works best for you to take that test. Okay, students with disabilities, read through the paragraph there and let me know if you need accommodations. Also check in with the DSPS office really soon because our test is really, our class is really on a short time frame. So you need to get a hold of them right away if you would like accommodations. Academic integrity, basically read through that. There's a lot of negative consequences for cheating. If you would like to know about more about what they are, then let me know. There's no study guides for our class. Basically, to prepare for tests, we'll talk about test preparation, but to prepare for tests, you really want to complete the homework assignments and read through the notes. The tests and final are going to cover everything that we talk about. So there's really no study guide for this. Additionally, there's no extra credit in the course. Your grade is based on the homework and exams and final exam as we discussed previously. Okay, we're getting there. All right, so next up, some general advice. A lot of people find math challenging. There's theory, there's special words that you need to understand, unique vocabulary. Word problems, a lot of times word problems give people difficulties. Math has a lot of baggage to it, and people just come into math a lot of time with a preconceived attitude, and that by itself makes it more challenging. Here's some advice that can make it a little bit easier for you. Try to work on math every day, even on the weekends. I know I've said earlier we should expect about 5 hours a day, so probably by the time Saturday rolls around, you don't feel like doing any math, but it'll take some of the load off of your work week if you do some work on the weekends. Of course, make sure to take some time off to rest, but if you can do some work on the weekends, then that will make your work during the week a little easier. Try to maintain a positive attitude. Keep in mind that you're taking this course by choice, so on some level you do want to take the course. Okay, and that positive attitude will go a long way in helping you complete the class successfully. Okay, learn the multiplication tables, read the textbook. I have that in there twice, sorry. Practice. Learning math requires practice. Although you can watch a lot of videos, math is really a skill-based subject. You really have to do it yourself to really understand it. So make sure to take all the practice that you need. Much of this you can read on your own. And then at the very end, student learning outcomes. So these are the mostly plain English explanations of what kinds of things you'll learn in the course. Again, I will leave that for you to read. If you have any questions about the policies or anything in the syllabus, let me know, and I can go over them again with you. All right, so that was the syllabus right here that we're looking at first thing. The next thing we're going to look at is the calendar, and then we'll be done with this video, okay? All right, so let's give it a minute. Okay, all right, so here's our calendar. We have only like 15 class days, like I'd said. What you're seeing here in black is what I would expect you to cover each day. So for example, on Tuesday the 5th, you should work through sections 1.1 through 1.4. And then on Tuesday, sections 1.5 through 1.7. That will finish chapter 1 for us. And then on the 7th, 2.1 through 2.3, and then on the 8th, on Friday, 2.4 through 2.6, and that'll finish chapter 2. So basically about 2 days per chapter. Notice also on Friday the 8th, our Chapter 1 exam will be available. We're finishing Chapter 1 on Wednesday the 6th, and then the test for it will become available basically 2 days later at 6 in the morning and be open until midnight. So the test for Chapter 1 is due on the 8th at midnight, and additionally, the assignments 1.1 through 1.7, those 7 assignments are also due at midnight. So all of Chapter 1 comes due on the 8th at midnight. Chapter 2, we're working on the 7th and the 8th. And then on Monday, you'll start Chapter 3, 3.1 through 3.3. And then notice the Chapter 2 test is again available from 6 a.m. to midnight. And additionally, the Chapter 2 material will also be due on the 12th at midnight. So you probably picked up on the pattern here. Basically, we're spending about 2 days per chapter, and then you'll have a day off of that chapter, not a day off, but a day off of that chapter, and then the following day we'll have the test on that chapter. Okay, let's see if our pattern bears out. So January 13th, 4.1 through 4.4, the 14th, 4.5 through 4.8, and then also you'll take the Chapter 3 test. And then Friday, and then Monday's a holiday, Martin Luther King Day, and so Tuesday is when we'll have our Chapter 4 test. Okay, so this is our plan. Basically, you want to work through each of these sets of sections on the days indicated. I did mention that the Chapter 1 material is due on the 8th. It starts on the 5th when it becomes available. Definitely strongly recommended that you work on 1.1 through 1.4 at least on Tuesday, 1.5 through 1.7 on Wednesday, 2.1 through 2.3 on Thursday, and then also start preparing for this Chapter 1 test. If you wait until like mid-afternoon Friday to do all of this Chapter 1 stuff, it's going to be unpleasant for you to get all that work done. Plus, you probably won't do as well on the test as you'd like because, for one thing, you haven't studied it for very long, and for two, you just haven't had as much time for it to soak in. Okay, so make sure to pace yourself through all of this because there's a lot of assignments in here. The plan is basically to finish up new material on the 22nd with section 7.4, 7.5. You'll notice here towards the end, we're not doing 4 sections anymore, right? 7.1 through 7.3 is only 3 sections. 7.4 through 7.5 is 2 sections. Okay, Chapter 6 test will be that Friday. And then on Monday, the 25th, we'll have just the Chapter 7 test as well as the Chapter 7 material being due at midnight. And then on the 26th, we'll have just the final exam at that point. So that's basically the calendar. Take a look through that, and you may want to print out or keep handy this calendar or write all of this out, which you need onto your own calendar. Just make sure that you don't miss things because it starts to add up. All right, so that takes us to the end of the calendar. And that takes us also to the end of this introductory video. If you haven't used Canvas before, I'd encourage you to feel free to click around and explore. You won't break anything. So far, we've looked at the syllabus and we looked at the calendar. Right now, you're watching this introduction, start here video. And then continue looking at this material under the syllabus and getting started section. Your next task will be to get the My Open Math account created and see if you can get started in Chapter 1. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day.